I have never know how I'm going to get these big figures that are over a few inches tall into these videos, but we'll try it anyway. So welcome to another magnificent MicroManDay. Today we're talking about the parents, I guess the father of Microman, the Henshin Cyborg, or in this situation, this is what Henshin Cyborg is. The original Henshin Cyborgs, of course, not Neo. Neo means new. This was sold in 1999, and its rubber band is already wearing out on it. You might be thinking, well, is this a small figure and you just have really tiny hands? No, here's a time traveler type figure, and Microman figure. It's actually should be Blackie from the rescue figures. They're this small. They're 1/18 scale. These are more G.I. Joe scale. And why are these G.I. Joe scale? Well, here's the interesting thing at how G.I. Joe and Transformers are related. G.I. Joe was made in Japan, sold to America in the 60s. The figures, they decided they'd take the molds and make clear versions with robot parts inside of it because it's Japan. And they made something called Henshin Cyborgs. Now, Henshin Cyborgs were a lot like Captain Action. If you don't know who that is, look it up because it's another great thing. Captain Action would always put on these clothes and become superheroes like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, whatever. He would put on the outfit and become that hero. So, Henshin Cyborg, he puts on, like, say, Spectraman or Ultraman. He becomes that character. Henshin means change or transform in Japan. Henshin Cyborg was so big that they didn't have room in Japan because they have a lot less room per home than we do here out in America, sprawling all over the place. So what they had to do is they figured out that if they're going to make more vehicles, which they tried a few, they're going to have to shrink the figures down. And that's how these guys became the figures. It actually came through the time travelers first, which were at that time barefoot. They, they didn't have boots. They had bare feet. And they looked a little different from this. So they shrunk this guy down to this size, which looks very much like the same thing. Now, the Henshin Cyborg in front of you, again, the original was called Henshin Cyborg, is a 1999 revival, so to speak. I don't know how much it looks like the original. I do know they use rubber band, which is really strange because now it's about to fall apart. It's that loose from being just about 20-some years old. The yellowing of the plastic is just unavoidable. I tried everything, but the yellowing, especially on the softer plastic, like the hands, well, his feet are not like the other one. There's also something called Henshin Cyborg 99, and I may have these backwards. I need to go check out Paul's site. But he also had a light gimmick that if you push the button on the back, it would light up his eyes and his heart, his chest. That's long gone. I need to actually get in there and get those batteries out before they do some more corrosive damage in there. But if you can actually paint this, you would see a lot of magnificent details, but also you'd ruin the chance to see the internal details. So I like clear figures, but not if there's nothing inside or not if it's just plain old clear. The Tron figures have painting on the outside. These have internal stuff. And if I had batteries in there that work, which would probably be just little button batteries, it would light up in his chest and his eyes. So we don't have that. Now, one of the features is his head comes off. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get off because I know that if you try to pull it off, it comes right out of the metal part comes out too most of the time. There's a screw in there, but I've taken his head off several times and it makes everything come off, unfortunately, and you have to fish it back out. So I'll just leave the head on there, but whenever you're wanting to conform him to somebody else, you can take that off. Another thing is you can add weapons to him by taking his arms off and adding the weapons here. Like if you want like a chainsaw or something. Now, there are other weapons. Excuse me, I had to blow my nose. I'm dealing with allergies right now. There are other attachments, and I think these actually came with the Henshin Cyborg 99. And I can't get this back up. But you can put them on top of it. There's a lot of different things. There's like crab claws. There's also armor. Like there was a helmet, a chest piece. It's like every one of these. Like if you got the clear one, and there's also a metal red one inside. There's also a smoke color. There's a lot of different variety of them, like a yellow plastic one, which is like pea actually. This one is supposed to be clear, but it's yellowed over the age. They all had different weapons that came with them. Like if you bought the yellow one, you might get the ice hand or something, which I don't know why you would, but just saying. So they have that feature as well. You can also take out the hands in case there's another weapon that attaches here. If you wanted to turn him into, say, I'll do it for another week, a figure that has human hands, you take the hands out, put the human hands on, if they came with those sets. Now, unfortunately, I never saw any of those whenever I got this one. I got this from my friend Rick Ruff, who lives in Japan. And then I found a lot of them on eBay, like dirt cheap at the time. They're just dumping them on there for a lot cheaper than stuff in America's sold for. So definitely I grabbed them up as many as I could. I think they're fantastic figures, even though the rubber band is really loose. And I'll do another one later on with the other figures I have. I got the ones that have magnets right here. And they actually do work with the Microman stuff. Not just the 5mm ports, which this is from Giant Courier, and it almost is about the same size. So I wonder if he was like, and that part of it came off right there. This is another piece that I found that I don't have all the Giant Courier, I know. But I can find pieces. Like this is one of his arms. My grandma actually made the Giant Courier when I was a kid. Chris and I got it at the same time. His foot comes off somewhere. It's like, I'm having the hardest time figuring it out. I like to put them on backwards. Oh, I knew that was going to break eventually. And here it did. Of course, when I'm doing something on camera, it's going to happen. It's just inevitable. That rubber band that I kept saying was loose, well, it just broke. And you saw it here on camera, so I definitely am going to have to put this video up at one time. But that's one of the things you might have to think about if you're wanting to buy one of these, that they're so old that the rubber band is actually really brittle. It doesn't even feel like a rubber band at all. It feels like plastic. Huh. Well, he's not the only one I have, and I don't know what I'm going to do exactly. I'm not going to reband him, because that would just make it even worse, because I don't know how to even fix that. I mean, I could glue it. That's what I did to my Catwoman when I was a kid. Her exact same thing happened. Her Band-Aid inside, or not Band-Aid, rubber band inside came apart, and I just glued the things together, but I think it got stuck in like this position. So she was constantly bowing or whatever. Oh, well. That's the way the cookie crumbles, literally. His foot comes off like this, and it's supposed to. His leg comes off like this, and I like to do this for fun, make him have bell bottoms. Just invert the things. You can maybe invert them like this to make the foot a little bit better. So now he has Popeye legs. I don't know, I just think that's funny. Yeah, well. You're like, what about his arms? Can we do it for his arms? Well, let's find out. Oh, look, he's got huge arms. He's been working out. He didn't skip arm day, I guess. Although I don't know why people skip leg days. That's like the easiest one in my opinion. The hand doesn't stick back in, unfortunately. But there he is with a leg for an arm. And then on his leg, you put the little teeny tiny leg right here if you want to make him shorter. If it'll stay. Nah, see, that's just not compatible. It's too big down here. Oh, well. How does it work right there then? But you can have a little bit of fun with him, and then you can break him. And then you could try to go, what am I going to do with him? I do have several of these, but man, that just makes me sad. I mean, it's like, that's really hard plastic. So is there a way to prevent that? It reminds me of my G.I. Joes. I had these 9-inch figures. Well, I had these 9-inch figures. Now I have little Ziploc bags full of dust. That all the connection points, that kind of thing, crumbled over time. They just crumbled, including the hands, which were made out of some kind of the same thing. And now you just have little bags of arms and legs like this. So if you know any cure for that, let me know. I can't go back in time and fix it, but maybe I can prevent it from happening to another one of my cyborgs here. Well, thanks for watching, and watch me next week when I break another toy, I guess. That seems to be a theme for me. Have a great day. Bye. Have a magnificent MicroManDay.